Then get down on your knees! You think you can ignore the HOA rules? You're under our jurisdiction now!
The voice was loud, panicked, and real. It wasn't from a movie, it was from my own security camera. And that's what happened to me. I never thought I'd have a gun pulled on me in my own driveway by a guy in a fake security uniform under the orders of a woman who ran our HOA like her personal dictatorship. But here we are. My name's Matt Garrison. I'm 38, a software engineer, car enthusiast, and until last year, just another suburban homeowner trying to live quietly in Willow Glen. Before we dive in, comment which country you're watching from. Let's see how far this story travels. When I bought my place, it felt like peace. Neat lawns, barbecue smoke on Sundays, kids on scooters. The HOA was background noise. A few emails a year, a reminder about fees, nothing that screamed trouble. But everything changed the day Cheryl Langston became president. You know the type. Heels clicking on pavement, clipboard always in hand, smile so sharp it could cut glass. She called her campaign community revitalization. Sounded noble. But once she took office, the revitalization looked more like control. First came the dues increase, 40%, no explanation. Then she banned porch flags unless HOA approved. Even wind chimes were suddenly noise pollution. But the final straw was the new rule banning visible vehicle maintenance. I was working on my Toyota, the hood up, radio on, when Cheryl strutted up and handed me a bright yellow violation slip. Visible engine parts degrade neighborhood aesthetics, she said, voice sugar-coated. I laughed, thinking it was a joke. It wasn't. Within 2 weeks, I had 3 citations, a formal warning, and a letter threatening fines or legal action. That's when I decided to push back. I attended every meeting, asked for spending records, and filed written objections. Cheryl didn't like that. Flyers appeared in mailboxes with my face on them. Neighborhood agitator, they said. Then came the harassment. My recycling bin overturned, eggs on my garage, notes saying comply or move. When I confronted Cheryl, she smiled and said, "Some people just don't respect order, Matt." That's when she created the HOA enforcement team, a group of retired wannabes in matching polos, clipboards, and fake badges ordered online. They rolled around with flashing blue lights, stopping cars, taking license plate numbers, and writing reports. One of them stood out, Derek, big guy, crew cut, jaw like a cinder block. He wasn't HOA staff or licensed security, just a warehouse guard Cheryl appointed as chief of enforcement. From day one, he had it out for me. He'd sit outside my house for hours. Once I caught him photographing my backyard through the fence. When I told him to leave, he said, "Keeping the neighborhood safe, sir." That's when I installed cameras, every angle covered, because I knew this was building towards something ugly, and I was right. Thursday evening, quiet air, golden light, and the sound of my car engine cooling in the driveway. Then came the crunch of tires. A white pickup rolled to a stop right in front of my gate, blocking it completely. Big, bold letters painted across the side, HOA Police. My gut twisted. I knew that truck. Out stepped Derek, the self-proclaimed HOA enforcement officer, with another guy wearing a matching vest that read HOA Cop. Derek's jaw was tight. "Evening, Mr. Garrison," he said, voice dripping with arrogance. "We've had reports of unauthorized materials being transported to your property. We need to search your vehicle immediately." I stared at him. "You've got to be kidding. You're not law enforcement, Derek. You don't have that right." He smirked. "The HOA gives me full jurisdiction to enforce community safety protocols." I actually laughed, not because it was funny, but because of how insane it was. "Derek, I'm not even a member of your HOA. My property line ends outside your subdivision. You touch my car, you're trespassing." That's when his face hardened. "You think you can ignore us?" he snapped. "Get down on your knees. You think you can ignore the HOA rules? You're under our jurisdiction now." And suddenly, his partner raised a pistol. Everything froze. The street went silent. I lifted my hands, palms out. "Put that thing down before you make the worst mistake of your life." But Derek stepped closer, pressing his weight into me, pushing me down until my knees hit the concrete. The guy with the gun hovered over me like this was some official arrest. "Search the vehicle," Derek ordered. His partner hesitated. "Derek, maybe we should—" "Search it," Derek barked again. I clenched my jaw. "You do that, you're committing felony trespass and unlawful detention. You can go to prison for this." He leaned close. "You think anyone's going to believe you? Cheryl runs this community. You're just another non-compliant idiot." My heart pounded, but my brain was calm, because what Derek didn't know was that I had 3 security cameras rolling. Doorbell cam, garage cam, and one hidden in the mailbox post. Every second of this insanity was being recorded. That's when it happened. A faint siren in the distance. One of my neighbors must have panicked and called the cops after seeing the scene. Derek froze. The man with the gun turned his head. "Put the weapon down," a voice shouted from the end of the street. Red and blue lights flashed against the houses. Real police. The deputy's voice thundered again. "Drop it now." The gun hit the pavement first. Derek tried to talk his way out. "We're HOA enforcement. This man's resisting inspection." But the officers didn't even blink. Within seconds, both of them were face down on the ground, handcuffed tight. I stayed where I was, hands raised, adrenaline still burning. When the sheriff walked over, I looked him dead in the eye and said, "You're going to want to see the footage." Because now it wasn't just harassment. It was an armed HOA assault, and I had every second of it on camera. If you're enjoying this HOA story so far, like and subscribe, because the story is only going to get better. The flashing lights painted the whole street red and blue. Neighbors peeked through curtains, phones out, whispering. The two fake HOA cops were on their knees, wrists cuffed, sweat dripping down their faces. The real deputies moved fast, reading them their rights while one of the officers took my statement. I pulled my phone from my pocket and opened the live feed from my security cameras. "Everything's on tape," I said, handing it over. "They pulled a gun on me," claimed HOA authority. The deputy glanced at the footage, his eyebrows shot up. "Yeah, this isn't an HOA problem anymore. This is felony level stuff. What Derek did, ordering me to the ground under threat of force, counted as false imprisonment with a firearm. And under 18 U.S. Code 912, impersonating a law enforcement officer while armed, that's a federal offense." When Derek realized how bad it was, his tough guy act vanished. "I was following instructions," he shouted as they led him to the patrol car. "Cheryl said we had authority. She said we could enforce." That name hit the air like a spark. I turned to the deputy. "You mean Cheryl Langston, HOA president?" He nodded slowly. "We'll be paying her a visit next." The next morning, I was at the precinct giving a formal statement when the detective called me into his office. "Mr. Garrison," he said, "we served a warrant at Cheryl Langston's residence. You were right. The fake uniforms, the badges, even that truck with HOA police on the side, all ordered under her name. She funded everything through HOA dues." I couldn't help but laugh. "So all those threats, all those violation letters, they were just a front for her little militia." He nodded. "She's facing conspiracy, misuse of HOA funds, and impersonation charges. She'll be seeing court soon." By noon, the story hit the local news. "Homeowner assaulted by fake HOA police. President under investigation." The footage from my cameras went viral. Every resident in Willow Glen saw Derek barking orders, the pistol glinting under the streetlight, and me calmly warning them they were committing a crime. And here's the irony. The county confirmed what I'd said all along. My property wasn't even part of the HOA. Cheryl had been illegally enforcing rules outside her jurisdiction for years. Within a week, the HOA board dissolved, fines were refunded, and Cheryl's attorney tried and failed to claim miscommunication. Cheryl Langston was handed a 5-year state prison term, plus 3 years of supervised release for conspiracy to commit impersonation of law enforcement and misuse of homeowners association funds. She was also ordered to pay $500,000 in restitution to community homeowners and $150,000 in civil fines levied by the state regulatory board overseeing associations. Derek Whitlow accepted a plea agreement in exchange for full cooperation and testimony against Cheryl Langston. Under the deal, he was sentenced to 3 years in state prison for brandishing a firearm and impersonating an officer, with 5 years probation following release. He was also fined $7,500 and required to attend mandatory firearm safety and de-escalation training as part of his probation conditions. His cooperation statement directly tied Cheryl to the fake enforcement orders, HOA fund misuse, and intimidation campaign, which ultimately sealed her conviction. As for me, I kept my cameras running and started a YouTube channel exposing HOA corruption. Now, whenever someone asks what happened that day, I tell them, "You don't need to break the law to stand your ground. Just record everything." The end.